Giving all praises to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shah, by Hashem, Rakah Kadesh. Double honors to the elders and apostles, a great millstone that taught me this truth. Alright, this is Sirach, chapter 10, and verse 8. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches gotten by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. Alright, because of the wickedness and the ways that the Edomites went about getting their rulership, the kingdom is going to be transferred from them and given to another people. And we know the scriptures let us know that it's the Israelites. Now, this is a video going into how the French and U.S. owes reparations to Haiti, and people are pushing for them to pay them the money they owe. And it's kind of weird how the U.S. can send, what was it, 40 billion? Or was it, I can't remember whether it was million or billion. I think it was billion to the Ukraine, but they already should be paying Haiti. They owe Haiti money. So why is Haiti not getting their money? Could it be because they are the tribe of Levi? And we all already know, or what I found out reason was how the U.S. went into Haiti, took the potatoes brought them to the U.S., and now they sell potatoes back to Haiti when Haiti should have been selling everyone else potatoes. But it's just a thing they do to hold this country down. Alright, now I'm going to play just a few minutes of the beginning of this video so we can get an idea of what it is that they are doing.
The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman in New York, joined by Democracy Now! Co-host Juan Gonzalez in New Brunswick, New Jersey.
Hi, Amy. Welcome to all of our listeners and viewers across the country and around the world.
Well, the ransom. That's the name of a major series of articles published by the New York Times detailing how Haiti became one of the poorest countries in the world, while bankers in France and the United States made a fortune. The story dates back to the early 19th century. In 1804, the enslaved people of Haiti rose up, leading a rebellion against French colonial rule, founding the world's first black republic. Under military threat from France in 1825, Haiti agreed to pay reparations to France for lost so-called property, including enslaved people that French owners lost in the rebellion. France threatened to invade Haiti and reimpose slavery if Haiti did not agree to a staggering amount in reparations, 150 million francs, 30 times Haiti's annual revenue. Haiti began taking out loans from French banks, leading to an economic crisis that continues through to this day. The New York Times estimates Haiti paid the equivalent.
All right, this is Deuteronomy 28, and I'm going to start at verse 28 to 42. All right, verse 43. The stranger that is within thee should get up above thee very high, and thou should come down very low. And that's what happened with these laws and the way French and the U.S. handle Haiti. He should lend to thee, and thou should not lend to him. He should be the head, and thou should be the tail. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy power, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign, and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. So, as you can see, Haiti is clearly up under these curses in Deuteronomy 28.
Of what's now $560 million to France over the next 7 decades. The true economic cost to Haiti is estimated to be an astounding $115 billion. And that only tells a part of the story. In 1880, a French bank established Haiti's first national bank, essentially putting France in control of Haiti's treasury. That bank, Crédit Industriel et Commercial, used some of its massive profits to help finance the Eiffel Tower. The bank's current owner has just launched an investigation into its dealings with Haiti and its role in what's called the ecosystem of colonialism. That bank, CIC. The time.
All right, when a country forces you to pay that type of money for their country, there's just no way that you can afford your own country. All right, this is Deuteronomy 28, continuing on verse 47. But because thou servest not thy Lord thy power with joyfulness and with gladness of the heart for the abundance of all things, therefore should thou serve thy enemies, which the Lord should send against thee, in hunger, in thirst, in nakedness, and in want for all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. All right, so we know they took the physical iron off, but this was iron that you cannot see when you are in this kind of debt to someone else. Because we know the scriptures say the borrower is in debt to the lender. Right? It's a slave to the lender. And by them owing this kind of money to France, France forcing them to pay this kind of money because they didn't owe France this money, this made them a slave to France. All right.
Series also looks at the U.S. military occupation of Haiti that lasted from 1915 to 1934. A key backer of the U.S. occupation was the National City Bank of New York, the predecessor of Citibank. Former U.S. diplomat Patrick Gaspard, who now heads the Center for American Progress, has called on Citigroup to pay reparations to Haiti. Gaspard wrote on Twitter, "A silent scream has been in throats for decades about the role U.S. played in depleting Haiti. No one would listen. Finally, some truths," he said. Over the years, Haitian demands for reparations have been repeatedly shut down, sometimes with force. France's former ambassador to Haiti, Thierry Boucard, admitted to the New York Times that France and the United States effectively orchestrated the 2004 coup that ousted Haiti's first democratically elected president, Jean-Bertrand Aristide. Boucard said one benefit of the coup was that it ended Aristide's campaign demanding France pay financial reparations to Haiti. To talk more about Haiti and the devastating impact of colonialism in this massive series in the New York Times, we're joined.
All right, let me get this is Job. Job, chapter 20, and I'm on verse 10. His children should seek to please the poor, and his hands should restore their goods. All right, and with them talking about giving Haiti's reparations, this is this children seeking to please the poor. All right, because of all the wrong they did to the Haitians. All right.
By two guests. Weston Lee Alsanat is a Haitian-American professor at Fordham University, where he teaches courses on the Atlantic slave trade, the American abolition movement, and Afro-Caribbean history. Gerald Horn also joins us. He's professor of history and African-American studies at the University of Houston, author of many books, including Confronting Black Jacobins, the U.S., the Haitian Revolution, and the Origins of the Dominican Republic. We welcome you both to Democracy Now! Professor Alsanat, let's begin with you. So this series has come out in the New York Times to both criticism and praise. It's come out in both Creole and in English. That's a first for the New York Times. Can you explain the significance of what many are calling revelations, at least to the general public, but certainly people in Haiti have been alleging for centuries. Not only alleging, but of course having proof of this.
Yes.
Alright, continuing on in Job. His bones are full of the sins of his youth, which should lie down with him in the dust. Though wickedness be sweet in his mouth, though he hide it under his tongue, though he spare it, forsake it not, but keep it still within his mouth. Yet his meat is in his bowels is turned. It is the gall of asp within him. He has swallowed down riches, and he shall vomit them up again. Yahweh shall cast them out of his belly. Alright, so all these riches and things that they stole, the Lord said they're gonna have to bum it up. They're gonna have to give it up. Alright, and
Amy, thank you for having me today. I'm glad to be here in conversation with you. So first, let me start by saying that a great acknowledgement to the many reporters and producers who put this very special issue together, and to have given it a front time exposure. It will mean a lot. Not really for Haitians per se, because it's the facts that are being revealed throughout the report are very well known, even to the most illiterate Haitian, and even to the youngest Haitian growing up. In fact, given the level of underdevelopment that is prevalent in Haiti today, one knows, at least the Haitian people knows, that this could have only been the legacy of an external force, rather of their own making. So I think the significance of the piece will be that it exposes the rest of the world to a knowledge that actually has existed for over 100 years and shares multiple partners, both in the private sector with regards to the financial industry, as well as the United States government, Germany, Great Britain, and most certainly and most influential France, having played a role in imposing the debt that in many ways will explain Haiti's poverty today. So I welcome the piece. I think it's great in terms of the many research that it brought together, both from academic literature that had already existed, as well as new revelations that are coming up. But in terms of calling it revelations, that would be a misnomer. I myself have written very extensively on the subject. Many other fellow academics, historians have written about it. There have been movements over the decades to get the United States, France, and the other parties responsible for this to get them to some accountability. And I believe a large reason why this never got the fair sort of ear of listening that it should have gotten is because it's coming from Haitians, who many people view.
alright, now we all know that reparations are coming. Alright, this is Psalms 59, and I'm gonna start at the top. Believe me, for my enemies, deliver me from my enemies, O my power. Defend me from them that rise up against me. Deliver me from the workers of iniquity, and save me from the bloody man. For lo, they lie in wait for me, for my soul. The mighty are gathered against me, not for my transgressions, not for my sins, O Lord. They run and prepare themselves without my fault, awake to help me, and behold. So, all this stuff they did to Haiti, it was without cause. Alright? They was just mad that Haiti's freed themselves and took over their own country. Thou therefore, O Lord, Yahweh of hosts, the God of Israel, awake to visit all the heathen. Be not merciful to any wicked transgressor. So, is they awake to visit all of them, show them no mercy. Alright? They return at even, they make a noise like a dog and go around about the city. Alright? So this is King David wrote, be not merciful to all the heathen. Alright? so what was I? Alright. Behold, they burst out with their mouths, swords are in their lips, who say they do hear. But thou, O Lord, should laugh at them. Thou should have all the heathen in derision. Because of his strength will I wait upon thee, for Yahweh is my defense. The Yahweh of my mercy should prevent me. Yahweh should let me see my deserve my deserve upon my enemies. Right? Slay them not, lest my people forget. Scatter them by thy power and bring them down, O Lord, our shields. For the sin of their mouth and the words of their lips, let them even be taken in their pride, and for cursing and lying which they speak. Consume them in wrath and consume them that they may not be. Let them know that Yahweh ruled in Jacob unto the ends of the earth. So this is the Lord saying, you know, King David said, no, let them know that the Lord rules. Alright. Alright. 14th verse. At even let them return and let them make a noise like a dog and go around about the city. Let them wander up and down for meat and gird if they be not satisfied. Alright. But I will sing of thy power, ye. I will sing aloud of thy mercy in the morning, for thou hast been my defense and refuge in the day of my trouble. Unto thee, O my strength, will I sing, for Yahweh is my defense and Yahweh of my mercy. So this is the Lord saying he's going to be the defense and mercy for Israel. Alright, so it's going to be a recompense for this. Alright, I don't expect them to get any reparations for this right now, even though they calling for it. But we know that the Lord is going to give us our reparations. Alright, this is Revelations chapter 13, verses 9 and 10. If any man have ear, let him hear. Alright, so anybody who got the ability and will to understand this word, this Bible. He that leadeth into captivity should go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and faith of the saints, and we know the saints are the Israelites. Alright, and with that, I'm going to say Shalom.